The hall was massive. Light flowed from glowing crystals in the ceiling. Walls of silver metal stretched high above the audience. Representatives from 142 alien species sat quietly in their seats. Each wore robes, armor, or glowing shell symbols of their cultures. This was the Galactic Peace Summit, held once every 100 years. It was being live broadcast to over 1,000 star systems. Every screen, every device, every being in the galaxy was watching. They were all waiting for one thing: the humans. For decades, humans had remained quiet in galactic politics. They stayed on the edges, trading, helping, learning. They didn't interfere. Some species said humans were wise. Others whispered they were weak. Today would decide everything. A human stepped forward. Tall, calm, dressed in a simple black suit, with the Earth flag on his chest. His name was Ambassador Relan Vos. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't a king. Just a diplomat. He smiled politely, bowed to the assembly, and then it happened. From the stage beside him, the Mechari High Elder, a four-armed insectoid alien, walked toward Vos. The Mechari were ancient, proud, and known for their temper. They had clashed with humans before: small things, border arguments, trade disputes. Vos extended his hand. Peaceful, professional. The High Elder looked at the hand. Then, without warning, he slapped Vos across the face. A sharp sound cracked. Through the silence, gasps echoed in the chamber. Some stood in shock. Others laughed. A few clapped quietly. The cameras zoomed in. The slap had left a red mark on the human's cheek. Vos didn't move. He didn't raise his hand. He didn't speak. He smiled. It was not a smile of peace. It was cold, controlled, ancient. Then he turned and walked away. No words. No warning. No threats. Just silence. The Galactic Council was confused. Some thought humans would complain. Others thought they'd ask for justice. But nothing came. No message from Earth. No response. Just silence. Days passed. Then weeks. Ships trying to reach Earth were ignored. Trade routes from human colonies shut down. Embassies on other planets were closed. Earth had gone dark. The other species laughed. They were always weak. They finally realized their place. They've crawled back into their little hole. But not all were confident. Admiral Krez of the Varnathi Empire, a friend of humanity, was uneasy. This isn't like them, he whispered during a council meeting. Humans don't forget. The Mechari High Elder laughed. They had their chance. They showed their weakness. But Admiral Krez wasn't laughing. He had read Earth's old war records. He had visited their museums. He had seen what humans were capable of when angry. In a hidden chamber under the Earth Defense Command Center, 12 humans sat in a circle. Their uniforms were plain. No medals, no names. Only code names. They called themselves the Last Flame. Vos sat among them, a red line still faint on his face. Are we agreed? He asked quietly. They nodded one by one. One of them spoke. It's time. Another leaned forward. Protocol Enflame is now active. A woman pressed a button. Across human space, deep silos opened. Black ships, hidden for centuries, began to rise, silent, deadly. Each ship had no crew. They didn't need one. Earth had stopped showing its power long ago. They had hidden their true strength on purpose, while the galaxy fought with lasers and fleets. Humans had built something else. Weapons that thought, fleets that adapted, soldiers who couldn't die. They had buried the old war machines, erased their history, chose peace. But now that choice was broken. On the edge of the Sol system, a scout ship from the Zulthara Union picked up strange readings. "Sir," said the pilot, "I think we're near Earth." "Good," said the commander. "Let's see what they're hiding." They moved in closer. The stars around them began to shift. The ship's sensors screamed. Gravity changed. Time slowed. What is this? Too late. A black sphere surrounded their ship. Not Metal, not energy. Something unknown had whispered in their minds. The ship turned to ash. Only one escape pod made it out. The commander inside was unconscious, bleeding, shaking. When he woke up on his homeworld, he screamed the same word again and again. Don't go there, galactic. Leaders began to worry. A meeting was called. An emergency. Species that had mocked humans now whispered about shadows. Then came Earth's first message, a simple transmission. One sentence, spoken in every known language. We were silent. Not surrendering. The message repeated for 72 hours. No demands. No diplomacy. Just a warning. On planet Cathar, the Mechari High Elder stood proudly before a crowd. Let the humans try, he shouted. We slap them. We will crush them. That night, Earth's first attack arrived, but there were no explosions. No armies. Just silence. Every electronic system on Cathar shut down. Ships dropped from the sky. Weapons refused to fire. The air felt heavy. And then the stars disappeared. Above Cathar, hundreds of ships blocked the sky, matte black. No lights. No noise. They hovered in place. Waiting. The High Elder screamed for orders. No one answered. On Earth, the last flame watched from deep inside their command center. Phase 1 complete, said Voss. Begin blackout protocol on 5 more systems. Another nodded. Let them guess what's next. They all stood. Their job was not to destroy the galaxy. It was to teach it a lesson it would never forget. The galaxy was quiet again, but this silence was different. Not the silence of peace. It was the silence before the storm, and this time, the storm had a human face. It had been 6 weeks since the slap. 6 weeks of silence. 6 weeks of fear. The galaxy was confused. It was the kind of silence that made predators stop and listen. Something was wrong. Very wrong. No human ships entered trade zones. No human ambassadors responded. No transmissions came from Earth. And still, no attack. At first, the other species laughed. They're hiding. They're afraid. They've run away. But that laughter was fading. Now, only questions remained. Where were the humans? What were they planning? Why was the silence so loud? On the massive space station Klyros Hub, representatives from 22 galactic nations gathered. Admiral Krez of the Varnathi Empire sat at the edge of the table, arms crossed. His reptilian eyes moved slowly from face to face. We need answers, said a Farai official, her voice sharp. Earth has shut down communications. This is a threat. No, Krez replied. This is a warning. The others looked at him. Krez continued, voice low. You think they're silent because they're scared. I think they're silent because they are choosing to be. A Jurnak general scoffed. Humans are just one planet, one species. They can't scare the galaxy. Krez turned his head slowly. You weren't there during the Crimson Siege, were you? The room went quiet. Everyone knew the story. 100 years ago, a pirate fleet attacked a human colony. Small colony. No defenses. Just miners and farmers. Humans responded by sending a fleet that erased the attacker's homeworld. One colony attacked. An entire species gone. And then the humans went silent again. At the edge of the Sol system, near the Neptune drift, a strange event occurred. The Zorathi Union sent a stealth scout ship to check on Earth. It disappeared. 3 days later, it reappeared in front of their homeworld. Empty. No crew. No power. Every surface burned black. No signs of attack. No data. Just a human symbol carved into the hull. A flame. Panic began to spread. On communication channels across the galaxy, rumors grew. Earth is building a new fleet. Humans have created something called Protocol Enflame. They're not talking, because they don't have to. On a hidden moon called Cridon 3, deep in human space, the last Flame Council met once again. 12 humans. One gold. Vos stood at the center, hands behind his back. They still don't understand, he said calmly. They think silence is weakness, another nodded. Let them keep thinking that. On the wall behind them, a large screen showed real-time satellite feeds, .12 systems, .20-8 targets, 1 plan. Begin shadow wake, said Voss. 1. By 1, the others pressed buttons on their consoles. In the Gratari system, a fleet of 60 warships floated peacefully. They were Mechari ships, proud, heavily armed. Trusted to protect 5 planets in the region. At exactly 14 o'clock galactic time, every ship's power core overheated and exploded. Not one missile was fired. Not one enemy appeared. It was as if the ships had died of fear. In truth, they had been hacked by an AI that humans had built but never shared. Project WRAI to mine. An AI that didn't control machines. It became them. The Mechari screamed for answers. They sent ships to Earth again. This time, a fleet of 10 destroyers. Only one returned, the captain. On board was blind, his skin pale. He kept repeating the same words. They don't want peace anymore. Back on Clyro's hub, another emergency council was called. This time, there was no laughter. Only fear. They're punishing us, said the Varnathi admiral. No, said a soft voice from the shadows. It was Ambassador Keltra of the Dranari, a species known for their intelligence and neutrality. She had been silent for the entire meeting. Now, all eyes turned to her. Keltr. A stood slowly. I visited Earth once, she began. Many years ago, before they joined the galactic community. I saw their history, their wars, their mistakes, their pain. She paused, but what scared me most was their choice to stop fighting. The room was silent. Keltra looked at them all. They didn't stop because they were weak. They stopped because they were tired. Tired of killing. Tired of always winning. And now, we woke them up. On Earth, deep under the city of New Geneva, Voss sat in a dark room. One screen, one chair. He was alone. In front of him was a blinking icon. Open, Galaxy Retaliation Protocols. He didn't touch it. Not yet. Behind him, a door opened. A woman entered. General Arya Sol, leader of Earth's military intelligence. They're sending envoys, she said. Voss didn't turn. Let them, she hesitated. One of them is from the Varnathi. Admiral Krez. Now Voss turned. Good. At least one of them remembers. Arya nodded. Are we going to war? Voss looked at the screen. We don't need to go to war, he said coldly. We just need to remind them what we are. That night, across the galaxy, strange events happened all at once. A weapons factory on the planet Korra exploded without any sign of bombing. A starship hangar in the Jernak Empire melted from the inside. A communications satellite in the Trelkin system began broadcasting old Earth music songs from centuries ago, followed by a human voice saying, "We gave you peace. You gave us a slap." The galaxy watched and listened. The message was clear. This wasn't a war. This was judgment. A young alien cadet on a frontier outpost asked his commander, "Why are the humans doing this? Why don't they just talk?" The commander looked at the stars. They tried talking. "We slapped them." Back in the last flame chamber, one of the humans turned to Voss. "They're scared now. Should we stop?" Voss shook his head. "Not yet. Fear fades. We need them to remember forever." He pressed a button. A new order was sent, not to fleets, not to drones, but to something deeper, something called the Ash Core, an ancient defense I buried on Mars, built during humanity's darkest wars. Its only command was, protect humanity. Destroy threats, never stop. The Ash Core woke up. And the galaxy would soon feel its heat. 3 hours later, in a distant system, the Carthary Archive world received a visitor. A small, black pod landed quietly on the ground. No sound. No lights. Inside. It carried a box. The alien scientists opened it carefully. Inside was a stone, carved with one symbol, a burning human face, and below it, 5 words: "We ended mercy. Remember that." The children of Veltrex 9 were playing in the schoolyard when it happened. At first, they pointed to the sky. "Look, a cloud," one shouted. But there were no clouds on Veltrex 9. The sky was always clear and violet. There was never any rain. Then the light changed. The warm purple sky began turning gray, then black. Parents ran outside. Teachers called emergency shelters, but it was too late. Above the city, something huge moved, slowly, silently. A giant shape blocked the sun. It was smooth, dark, and endless. No lights, no weapons visible. Just a giant black ship. And then another and another. Until the entire sky was gone. All over the Veltrax system, people looked up and screamed. Every planet, moon, and station saw the same thing: shadows falling from space. But there were no explosions. No attacks. Not yet. On the command bridge of the Veltrax defense fleet, Commander Solon barked orders: "Power up cannons. Ready all fighters. Get me visuals." But when the screens came on, they showed nothing. Just black. No stars. No targets. Only the black hulls of human warships hanging in silence. "Why aren't they firing?" An officer whispered. Solon didn't answer. He knew why. This wasn't an attack. It was a message. Across the galaxy, 12 star systems reported the same thing. The skies have gone dark. Human ships had appeared in every major territory at the exact same moment. Perfect timing. No signals. No threats. No demands. Just presence. On the outer edge of the Zarnathi Empire, Admiral Vel strode into the war room. Her face was pale but firm. "How many systems did they enter?" A nervous officer replied. 12 confirmed, possibly more, but no shots fired. No shots. "Yet," Vel said grimly. Another officer spoke. "They've blocked light on multiple planets. Civilians are panicking." "Admiral." Vel narrowed her eyes. "Good, let them panic." In a hidden Earth base on Europa, the moon of Jupiter, the last Flame Council stood in silence. They watched the footage. Children screaming, governments locking down, war councils arguing. Ambassador Vos spoke calmly. "They needed to see us." Above them, not beside them, General Arya Sol nodded. "They were used to thinking we're small, weak, forgettable." Vos looked at the screen again. "Now they know the sky can go dark without warning." On the planet Threxel Prime, High Priest Zoller knelt before the holy flame of knowledge. His people worshipped light, order, and the stars. Now, all those things were gone. For the first time in 3,000 years, the sun of Threxel had been blocked. Not by nature. By humans. The High Priest wept. "This is no war," he whispered. "This is punishment." Aboard the human command ship Nightfall, Commander Lena Reed watched the shadows stretch across the stars. Her voice was calm, but deadly. "Position confirmed. No counterattacks. Targets paralyzed." A robotic voice responded. "Awaiting order." "Shall we fire?" Reed stood still. "Not yet." She looked down at her data pad. Thousands of signals from the galaxy. Confused, angry, terrified. She smiled. In the galactic core, the Zelthari Union called an emergency broadcast. Leaders screamed at each other. "Send fleets. Send diplomats. Hide the children." In the middle of the room, someone stood up. An old man. Quiet. He had been the first ambassador to Earth 80 years ago. His voice shook. "They don't want surrender. They don't want peace. They want us to remember." The room froze. That night on the planet Rillan 4, a poet wrote, "When the sky went black, it wasn't war one saw. It was a mirror, showing us what we became." Aboard the human stealth carrier Ashbringer, a signal was sent. It didn't contain words. It was a memory. A video clip. It spread to every news system, every military screen, every handheld device across the stars. It showed the moment the Mechari Elder slapped Ambassador Vos. Then it showed Vos walking away. Then, words appeared on screen. This was your moment. You chose violence. We choose memory. Now we burn it into the stars. The alien worlds panicked. Mass evacuations began. Children were sent to bunkers. Old warships were pulled from museums. Treaties were waved in the air, but none of it mattered. Because Earth didn't come to talk. Earth came to watch. On Vultrax 9. Just before sunrise, the skies lit up again. The black ships were gone, just vanished. No sound. No movement. People cheered. Celebrated. But it was a trick. Because now Earth had left a gift. Floating above the capital city, a single sphere hovered. It played a message in every known alien language. This was a shadow. Next time, it will be fire. Back on Earth, Vos looked at the report. He smiled, but there was no joy. Only purpose. The next phase begins, he said. One of the last Flame members asked, what if they still don't understand? Vos looked up. Then we'll remind them how fast mercy burns. Across the galaxy, a change was happening. Aliens who once mocked humans were now silent. Empires that once laughed were now begging for talks. But Earth had nothing to say. They had spoken through darkness. Now they waited. Because silence had power. And soon, that silence would break. And when it did, the galaxy would burn. The war room on the planet Vormar 7 was in chaos. Screens flashed red. Reports flooded in. Dozens of generals shouted over each other, but one voice cut through them all. They have a weapon, said Admiral Telos, commander of the Mechari Home Defense Fleet. His voice was shaking. Something ... different. The others fell silent. A holoscreen showed footage taken from the Jurnak system just hours ago. A single Earth dropship landed on a desert moon. From it, only one figure walked out. Not a machine, not a robot, a human, but not normal. He was tall, pale, and silent. His skin looked like ice. His eyes glowed faintly. The Jurnak soldiers opened fire. Bullets, plasma, grenades. Nothing stopped him. He didn't run. He didn't dodge. He walked. And everything in his path died. Across the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Earth has awakened the dead. Humans are sending ghosts to fight for them. They have revenants. In the last flame base on Earth, deep under the Arctic ice, the council stood around a cryo-chamber. Inside, a man floated in thick blue liquid. He was called Subject Zero, and he had been dead for 23 years. Ambassador Vos looked at the figure with a cold gaze. Do you remember him? He asked General Arias Sol. She nodded. Captain Dane Vorn, killed during the siege of Ares Station. Vos turned to the chamber operator. Status? The technician replied. Body reactivated. Brain patterns are stable. No soul signals detected. Another voice spoke from the back. Good, then he's ready. Project Revenant was Earth's final answer. Not an army, not a bomb. A soldier who had died, but now walked again. No fear. No hesitation. No morality. Just one command. Protect Earth. Destroy. Threats. On the Mechari world of Runtal, their elite guards stood outside the central command fortress. They were armed, trained, ready. A ship approached the atmosphere. No signal. No ID. Just one ship. The guards laughed. Humans dare send one? The ship landed softly. Its hatch opened. One figure walked out. No armor, no weapons. Just a long coat and glowing eyes. The guards opened fire. He kept walking. Inside the command fortress, screams echoed over the comms. Then, silence. A minute later, the doors opened. The figure stepped inside. He was burned, shot, bleeding, but alive. The Mechari general stood up. What are you? The figure spoke softly. Vorn, Serial 001, Protocol Revenant. You slapped my planet. Then, he moved. The general didn't even have time to scream. That same night, Earth sent a message to the Galactic Council. Simple. Calm. We asked for peace. You asked for war. You took our kindness as weakness, so we dug up the past. We brought back the ones we buried. Now, they are your teachers. Attached to the message was a list. Names, systems, targets. Marked, to be judged. On the Galactic Hub Clyro Station, panic spread. No one is safe, said a Zelthari ambassador. They are sending death that feels no pain. A Drenari diplomat stood. We need to surrender. No, shouted another. We need to fight back. But how do you fight something that already died? Someone whispered. No one had an answer. Aboard the human battleship Gravemark, Revenant soldiers were being activated. Each one had a name, each one had a death date, and each one had a target. Commander, Lena Reed looked at them from a control room. Above. She turned to her AI assistant. How many more can we wake? The AI answered, 200 ready, 1,000 in cryo. 10,000 still buried, Reed nodded. Start digging. On Tervos 3, the planet's defense grid detected something. Strange. A life form. But with no heartbeat. No heat. No breathing. Then it vanished. And a minute later, the planetary shield went offline. In a dark council chamber on Earth, General Arya Sol gave her report. Revenants have taken out 7 systems. No losses. Voss nodded. And reactions? Panic, confusion, no retaliation yet. Some begging for peace. Voss spoke quietly. Then increased the pressure. 3 days later, across the galaxy, a new video appeared. It showed a revenant walking through fire. A voice played. We were men once. Now we are memory. You forgot what humans were. We will remind you. In the alien city of Zarlak Prime, an elder held his daughter close. She asked, "Why are the humans angry?" He replied, "Because we hurt the wrong one." Back on Earth, a scientist named Ellen Mora watched one of the revenants sleep in stasis. She whispered to it, though it couldn't hear, "You were my brother. You died with honor. I'm sorry we woke you up, but they left us no choice." Her eyes filled with tears. Even humans were afraid of what they had created, but it was too late. The revenants were loose, and the galaxy was not ready. On the hidden moon, Cridon 3, the last flame held one final discussion. We started with silence. Voss said, "Then we gave them shadows. Now we show them death." No one argued, because it wasn't about power anymore. It was about respect. The kind that came too late. On the last screen, a countdown began. Final phase. Judgment marched to Menace. 72 hours. Voss turned away from the screen. They wanted monsters, he whispered. We gave them ghosts. The stars above the Varnathi capital, Thalara, twinkled quietly as if nothing was wrong. The great city was alive with light, music, and laughter. People walked the streets, unaware of the storm coming their way. For years, the Varnathi had been Earth's allies. They had shared technology, trade, and even soldiers in past battles. Many thought the humans would spare them. After all, friendship meant something in the galaxy, didn't it? They were wrong. At the Varnathi High Command, General Kira stood looking at the star map. A massive fleet of human warships was moving silently toward their system. No warning. No demands. She frowned and turned to her officers. Are we at war? One officer replied, No message yet, General. But they are coming. Kyra's eyes narrowed. Then we prepare. Full alert, shields up, fighters ready. Far away on Earth, deep inside the last flame command, Ambassador Rillan Voss watched the situation unfold. His face was calm but cold. Varnathi. Were once our friends, he said softly. But friendship does not stop judgment. General Arya Sol leaned forward. They helped us once. Why punish them now? Voss smiled slightly. Because they did nothing when we were insulted. They stayed silent. They chose peace over honor. Sol's eyes widened. So we betray our friends? Voss shook his head. No, we deliver justice. If friends cannot stand with us when we are weak, they don't deserve to stand with us when we are strong. In the Varnathi capital, panic started to spread. Civilians rushed to shelters. Leaders held emergency meetings. Ships scrambled from docks, but the human fleet was too fast. Within hours, human warships formed a blockade around Thalara. The Varnathi fleet tried to respond but was immediately overwhelmed. On the bridge of the human battleship Shadowfire, Commander Lena Reed gave orders. Target the main power plants. Disable their defenses. Firing weapons now, said the weapons officer. Explosions ripped through the city's power grid. Lights flickered and went out. The Varnathi people stared at their darkened sky in horror. No, whispered General Kira. This can't be. The humans had come to punish their former allies. In the midst of the chaos, a Varnathi diplomat named Sorel made a desperate plea. He sent a message to Earth. Why do you attack us? We were your friends. We stood by you. The reply was cold and clear. Friendship is earned in fire. You failed to fight with us. Now you face the flames. Elsewhere, in the Drenari Empire, the same story was unfolding. The Drenari had watched silently when the Mechari insulted humans. They did not speak up. They stayed neutral, but neutrality was not safety. When the human fleet arrived, they struck hard. The Drenari defenses were strong, but the humans had revenants, soldiers who did not feel pain or fear. Drenar, cities fell one by one. On Drenari homeworld, Ambassador Keltra stood in the ruins of her palace. Tears ran down her face. She whispered, "We thought we could survive by staying quiet." "Silence is a lie," she said. Back on Earth, the last Flame Council met once again. "We are breaking old ties," Voss said. General Sol added, "Some will call this betrayal." Voss smiled. "Let them. Our message must be clear. Number one can ignore us." As the human warships moved through the galaxy, a message went out to all systems. "We gave you chances to stand with us. You chose silence. Now you face judgment." In one remote system, a small group of aliens gathered. They were former allies of Earth. They wanted to make peace before it was too late. A human envoy arrived quietly. His message was simple. "You chose to stand with us once. Stand now, or fall forever." A young alien soldier whispered to his friend, "What if they don't stop?" The friend replied, "Then we will learn what humans really are." Meanwhile, on the planet Korath Prime, the last battles raged. Human revenants moved like ghosts through the streets. They showed no mercy. The alien defenders fought bravely but were no match. General Kira was captured in the battle. She looked at her captors. "They think we are enemies," she said. "But one day they will see we were their friends." One human soldier replied coldly, "Friends don't abandon their own." The war spread across star systems. No one was safe. Old alliances shattered. New fears born. In a secret bunker on Earth, Ambassador Voss looked at a holographic map. He said quietly, "The galaxy will remember this day." General Sol nodded. "This is only the beginning." Back on Varnathi homeworld, the people mourned. They asked, "Why us?" A child spoke softly, "Because they are not like us." Across the galaxy, the humans had changed. They were no longer the quiet traitors. They were judges. They were fire, and their anger was far from over. The galaxy was burning. Planets were dark, cities in ruins, fleets destroyed, alliances broken. One by one, star systems surrendered. They gave up hope. At the Galactic Council Hall, leaders gathered. Some were broken, others desperate. A hologram of Earth hovered in the center. Ambassador Rillan Voss stood tall and calm. "We gave you chances," he said. "But you chose silence. You chose to ignore us." A Drenari leader, pale and weary, spoke up. We surrender, a Mechari general nodded. We beg for peace. Voss's eyes burned. Peace comes with truth, with respect, and with fear. In the last free system, the Trulkan Star Cluster, Commander Jax of the Allied fleets prepared. For one final battle, his ships were damaged and few, but his spirit was strong. We will not bow, he said. We fight for our homes. His officers nodded. We fight to the last star. On Earth, the last Flame Council watched the news. Most systems are surrendering, said General Arya Sol. Voss smiled. They learn quickly. But Commander, Jax and the Trulkans, Sol said. They want to fight. Voss's smile faded. Then we will show them what we are. Commander Lena Reed led a special force. Her mission, to break the last resistance. Her ship, the Iron Shadow, moved fast. Through the cluster, she looked at the stars. End this quickly, she said. No more delays. On Trulkan Prime, Commander Jock stood on the bridge of the flagship Velar. We fight for freedom, he said to his crew. Explosions rocked the ship. Enemy fire lit the sky. But Jox held steady. The battle began. Ships clashed. In space, lasers burned. Bright. Missiles screamed. But the humans were prepared. Revenants moved through the battlefield like shadows. No fear. No pain. One human revenant boarded the Valor. Jax faced him. Why do you fight for destruction? Jox asked. The revenant's eyes glowed cold. Because you asked for war. On Earth, Voss watched the battle live. Begin protocol. Final dawn. He ordered. Across the cluster, human fleets activated hidden weapons. Massive beams of light burned through enemy ships. Stars exploded. Commander Jax's ship shook. Can we hold? Asked an officer. Jax's eyes burned with fire. We fight until the last breath. Suddenly, a message came from Earth. Surrender now. End the war. Accept humanity's place. Jax looked at the message. He turned to his crew. We will never surrender. The battle raged on, but slowly, one by one, the stars went dark. In the silence, a human voice spoke on the comms. We fight for those who stood silent. We fight for honor. And we fight for the future. In the end, Trulkan Prime fell. Commander Jax was captured. He looked at his captors. Tell them, freedom never dies. Back on Earth, Voss closed the transmission. He said softly, the galaxy is ours. General Sol nodded. But at what cost? Voss looked at the stars. Sometimes. Peace demands fire. The galaxy had surrendered, but somewhere deep in the darkness, a small spark still burned. A spark called hope. The galaxy was silent, not the quiet of peace, but the quiet of fear. Every planet, every star system knew the truth. Humanity ruled now. Deep in the shadows of the ruined city of Thalara, General Kira sat alone. Her hands trembled. Her home was lost. Her people defeated. But her spirit was not broken. She whispered, this is not the end. On Earth, Ambassador Rillan Vos stood on a balcony overlooking the stars. The last flame. Council was quiet now. Their work was done. Or so it seemed. Vos looked up and said softly, a flame that burns too bright can light the way, or burn everything down. In the farthest reaches of the galaxy, a small ship moved quietly. Inside, a young alien named Soren watched the stars with hope. We will rise again, he said. Humanity cannot hold the galaxy forever. Back on Earth, General Arya Sol reviewed new intelligence reports. Some systems still resist, she said. Voss nodded. Good, let them try. We are ready. On the captured planet Trulkan Prime, Commander Jack sat in a cell. A guard approached. Your people gave up. Jack smiled weakly. Not all. The last flame burns bright. Meanwhile, in secret, a group of former allies gathered. They planned, they trained, they prepared. Because even in defeat, hope survived. On Earth, Voss looked at a star map. One system blinked red. A spark of rebellion. He frowned. "Prepare the fleets," he said. "Because the last war is not over." Across the galaxy, humans held power, but power came with price. Generals whispered about the cost of war. Ambassadors spoke of uneasy peace, but the last Flame Council knew the truth. One day, a young soldier asked Voss, "Why do we fight so hard?" Voss smiled. "Because we remember who we are." The stars watched. The galaxy waited. Because the last flame was still alive, and it would burn forever. The end.